Any movie, show, or game that comes to a new country that doesn't share their language needs to be dubbed or subbed.
But let's be real here, like 95% of the time when people are talking about dubs and subs, they mean anime, at least in the West.
But which is better, dubs or subs?
Well, if you have a hard time reading, are dyslexic, or just don't like to read, then the dub is for you.
At first, I felt bad for people who had to deal with the dub for quality reasons, but over time they have gotten much better. The 90s was still a bad time for dubbing though. I'm happy I was born after it.
Some of us weren't so lucky. Some dubs have come out better than subs in that time, like Cowboy Bebop, and above all, Ghost Stories.
But those are outliers. They're few and far between, and often the sub has much better voice actors, mostly because in Japan voice actors train their full lives for those specific kinds of voice roles, whereas American voice actors usually started out in theater and therefore accentuate their words more.
But sometimes they are around for too long, like Goku's voice actress. She voiced him when he was a kid, which works, but the voice no longer fits at all. And it hurts my ears.
Dragon Ball is a big anime, and it sucks that some people think Goku's voice really doesn't fit, which I can totally understand. But at least all the other voice actors work better than any of the other Dragon Ball dubs.
The big green dub, anyone? That was amazing.
It's about time I was allowed to have some fun. Now I'm gonna teach our visitor a lesson.
No, don't do it! He's too powerful!
You're right. Why didn't you tell me sooner?
You're joking, right?
To me, it's so bad that it loops around back to being good.
Well, you don't get an A+ in writing for making the worst story ever. Is there anything the dub has over the sub in any way that isn't an outlier?
I can think of a few things. You can turn to your friend and talk to them while still hearing the dub. Subs are for friendless loners who watch anime by themselves. You can't leave it on to cook or clean, you have to give it your full attention. I want to watch anime, not babysit a child.
I won't say they're all friendless loners, but I get what you mean. If you want to watch a subbed anime, you can't really do much of anything else as you watch it, but hey, most guys hate showing emotion anyway, so sitting in silence is likely the perfect activity for us.
Dubs are also funnier. Timing is the friend of comedy. Written works lack timing. Unless you read the words at the same speed the characters are talking, it's not going to be as funny.
But we also have to put up with the Gamergate jokes, the political jokes, etc.
Most of the freaks who come in here hate women, so seeing girls degraded gives them boners and makes them happy.
Well, maybe think about how these girls feel for once. Maybe they don't want to be debased just so you can sell a few more chicken wings to horny losers with mommy issues.
But I see what you mean, timing is everything, although I think jokes can cross boundaries if a voice actor of any kind is expressive enough, even if you're reading it when they say it.
To me, the political stuff is overblown. They make them few and far between. It could be worse, like it is in comics. Ugh.
I mean, they could take out all the political jokes and have the best writers in the world, but there's still only like 12 main voice actors that can be recognized in dub anime.
Yes, I watched Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho. I could tell that Hiei, Android 17, all had the same voice actor. I think the guy's name is Chuck Huber or something.
There are perfectly justifiable reasons for this. Dubbed anime isn't as big a voice acting industry and has fewer companies, so they'll have to reuse VAs a lot to get some projects out. But when they don't really have a good range, such as Monica Rial, doesn't that just ruin the immersion a little bit?
Well, you see, in the West we see time as a line, but in the East they see time as a circle. Time restarts itself over and over in an infinite loop. I see Hiei, Android 17, in the dubs as the same person, just reincarnating into new worlds.
Koenma may regard us as equals, but I do not. Once inside the castle, I suggest you let us do the work. As far as I'm concerned, we're babysitting. Fighting that little beast made me start thinking about the animals I left behind on the island, and so I let my guard down.
Jar, I'm not gonna lie, that's the worst argument I've ever heard in my life. You aren't a Buddhist. You're just a robot. Another advantage to listening to the sub is that you can still listen to the original language, increasing the immersion factor.
Yes, the feeling of being in another world that's completely cheesy, repetitive, and prone to melodrama, and being settled with voices that are so high-pitched your ears will start bleeding. It's becoming more common for Japanese words to be used in the dubs nowadays, such as senpai or Beerus's Hakai. The benefits of a dub is that you don't have to have your eyes constantly glued to the bottom of the screen, and you can take in each frame of animation.
I disagree. Anime doesn't usually have visually intensive scenes when talking, and if they do, such as wide shots of the mystical world they're in, or in a fight scene, they typically don't have that much dialogue. When they do, it's usually just lip flaps to save on budget. And I can spoil the entire series to the plebs who couldn't be bothered to read.
But Space Dandy!
Ah, come on, that's just an outlier. It's only one example.
One of my favorite animes is Yu Yu Hakusho. All of the main characters are either delinquents or demons, so the bad dubbing actually works in its favor, and that's why I prefer the dub of Yu Yu Hakusho over the sub.
However, that doesn't excuse modern dubbed anime from having poor voice acting or having VAs that don't fit the character. Some big VAs in the industry just aren't that emotive, but with the cycle of VAs and dubbed anime, they'll still end up everywhere. There's also the lip syncing problems you get. Studios try their best, but it makes it hard to get immersed in the show when the words don't align with what the mouth is saying.
I will use the power of the light to make you die!
Then you have poor audio mixing, and it's just a whole mess.
Honestly, the best kinds of dubs are the ones that don't take themselves too seriously at all, like Ghost Stories.
Hey, can you guys hear anything? You know what I hear? I hear the sound of you shutting the fuck up. Let's see. 7? What the fuck are you talking about?
And other similar dubs that just kind of act like an abridged series.
I mean, sure, they can be entertaining, but in all honesty, I kinda do feel sad for people that want a regular dub of the show. Remember, this isn't an abridged series, it's the actual official dub, which can only really make it worse off for people that actually want the regular product.
That's true, and with almost any anime, they will have various dialogue changes, no matter how small, to sometimes market themselves to Western audiences. It can be annoying, and they don't have to make so many political, out of touch, and honestly cringe-worthy edits.
That's right, everyone of my race can become a giant gorilla. I'm truly sorry, little one, but I have to have a clear conscience.
But it comes with a territory of dubs for shows that studios don't see as quite as important.
I think it'd only really be a minor problem in comparison to the Western dubs, but on the other side, sometimes anime will reference Japanese media or people that Western audiences don't have a clue about. Personally speaking, I just don't really care, but some might.
And these communities...
Oh yes, the bane of everyone's existence. The people who constantly argue about why their medium is better than the others.
I mean, aren't we doing that?
Nah, we're respectfully acknowledging the ups and downs of both sides without making ourselves sound like complete clowns.
My god, not taking a side would really piss both the sub and dub extremists off.
Yeah, I guess it would. Hey, good thing it's not on my channel, right, Jar? Right?
So anyways, how about we talk a little bit about anime movies?
Oh, you mean like Disney versions of Ghibli films and so on?
Yeah, specifically, let's talk about the movies that don't have to do with any pre-existing franchise, since those are the ones that aren't often dubbed by the regular studios like Funimation.
Well, unfortunately, some are definitely less timeless feeling than others. When it comes to Ghibli dubs, they mostly hold up, but films like Ghost in the Shell, which were made in the horrid period of the 90s, have a real sort of cheesiness to them.
I can agree with that. It's honestly a really refined taste. If you aren't watching dubbed anime movies from the 90s to make fun of it with friends, you probably want to watch it either for nostalgia. After all, some people can appreciate the cheesiness. There's definitely a charm to it, even if in some cases it takes away from the original film to hardcore fans.